Hi guys, welcome back to Tycho Talks episode 2. It's really exciting. We're here again, ready to go. This week's topic, we're going to be talking about the school system and how the school system has programmed us to behave in a certain way. Now, there are obviously pros and cons to this. We're not absolutely just
against
it, and we're not trying to tarnish, going to school and going to university. But I think it's a really interesting topic to start with, especially so early into our journey as well as entrepreneurs, just having a bit of a discussion about the school system and how it shapes us to be a certain type of way. And so that's what we're going to be talking about in this episode. Now, we'll start off with talking about our personal experience. So I guess for you, Christos, share your personal experience of, your journey at school and how that maybe shaped your mindset for after school and for, whether you went to uni, whether you didn't go to uni, to who you are now.
Yeah, no worries. Now, look, obviously I went to a public school. I started off, obviously primary and then high school. They were both public schools. And I feel like that in a certain point itself is, people think, going to public school, like you get less education, which to a certain point you kind of do. And you're surrounded by, young individuals that might not come from, wealthy parents in a sense. Not many parents are successful. So like you're kind of surrounded with kids that are just, have the basic parent that works 9 to 5 and all that. That kind of does impact your life in a sense. But for me, like I'm not friends with anyone from high school. No one. I don't talk to anyone from high school. I don't associate with anyone from high school. If I see them, I might say hello. But in saying that, like, I'm a whole individual person myself. So I feel like school in general, it's interesting because, there's lots of good things that come out of school and there's lots of bad things that come out of the schooling system as well. Like I'm a massive believer in obviously, like being social with, not like, the opposite sex, guys and girls. Like I feel like it's good in the sense that, you go to school and interact with both boys and girls. And that's what, when I say that, obviously, you have your boys' schools, you have your girls' schools, you know what I mean? I'm not a massive fan of that. Because I feel like it is healthy to go to school with, boys and girls in a sense, because it kind of grows morals and beliefs and respect as well. Like the fact that you're going to school 9 to 5 and not 9 to 5, 9 to 3, and Monday to Friday, you're spending most of your time at school. You know what I mean? So you're surrounding yourself with, all kinds of people in a sense. Obviously now the school system's come such a long way from where it was 20 years ago. You know what I mean? Like our parents used to get whipped at school, get beaten up and stuff. But look, in a sense, I feel like co-ed schools as well are pretty, I reckon, more efficient than obviously like, the main boys' schools and the girls' schools, because I feel like that interaction with the opposite sex is really powerful in a sense. But obviously, like I said, my upbringing in high school was pretty fun. Obviously, I'm not going to lie. Like there was no responsibility. Waking up 9 o'clock, knowing where you're going to be, Monday to Friday, having like 2 weeks off during the year as well, per semester, plus the 6 week off at the end of the year. It is a nice lifestyle, got to admit. And like, going to school, having a laugh with mates, obviously the homework side of it wasn't really much stress at all. Like I did VSC and all that. My ATAR was like 79 something, I don't know what it was. It was like high 70s. Didn't study much, but yeah, and obviously after that I did pursue a double degree in sports and exercise science, and I did want to become a teacher. But even all that, I feel like it was a waste of time, Nate. Now that I've come so far in my life, I'm obviously 23, 24, I feel like those years in school, if I knew what I knew now, I would have taken it so much more lightly. I wouldn't even done VCE, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because most people that actually make it in life, like Albert Einstein, for instance. Albert Einstein, like he was literally cursed and was put down by all his teachers saying he was the dumbest in the class, week on week in, like year on by year. He was literally the dumbest student in the whole school, and he's literally turned into like most greatest scientist in all of time. You know what I mean? And like I say that about so many more entrepreneurs and so many more wealthy people. Like at school, they were literally like the dumbest of the dumbest in class, like B plus, like minuses, all that in grades and everything. And look where they've become today. You know what I mean? Like the fact that they had the experience at school. And I'm telling you, most successful people that have made it today didn't go to uni, didn't complete VCE, came from broken homes and all that. So it just depends as well in the sense of, your self-belief and, the way you kind of go about it and the way you want to put yourself in a sense of your future as well. Like obviously uni is a fantastic thing, I believe. If you want to become a lawyer, if you want to become a doctor, if you want to become a physiotherapist, I do believe that uni is a good sense if you want to pursue that pathway. You know what I mean? Because I feel like once you do complete uni in that sense, you'll make decent money. You can open your own clinic, you can, become a lawyer, make good money. Like, my girlfriend, she's studying law. She's probably got 2 years left, and I know for a fact when she completes that, she'll be very, very successful in her field. You know what I mean? But yeah, for me, for instance, like, you know, I didn't get much out of uni, and I'm sure that everyone can agree with this. You don't learn much at uni. It's all like on the job learning. You know what I mean? Like, it's fine studying for law for 7 years, but where you learn all the skills and the trades is on the actual job. So what does that tell you? Even business. Like, I feel like doing a business degree in uni, it's a waste of time. Like, majority of the time, you know, you sit in there, listen to a guy, listen to your lecturer that's teaching you how to run a business, when I'll put my life in it, he's never ran a business in his life. He probably drives a $10,000 car that sits in the bloody car park. And yeah, in a sense that the fact that kids look up to that lecturer, or that, you know, they want to do well to succeed and to obviously pass that course so they can get a business degree, what's good out of it? Like, what is good out of it? You know what I mean? But yeah, look, like I said, there's lots of pros and cons to it, but yeah, that was my experience. Obviously, you know, completed VCE, you know, did the average role in school, you know, went by. Like I said, but I don't really talk to much people from school. So.
Well, that's actually really interesting, and I'll tell you my experience with school. But what I find really interesting in everything you just said is, and we'll touch into how the school system programs you to become and behave a certain way. So you went into school and you were taught from an early age to have a certain routine, right? You were taught to learn that routine. You wake up at a certain time, you go to school, you have recess, you have lunch, you end school, you go home, you do your homework, you do it all over again. What is that the absolute reflection of? A 9 to 5. That is the reflection of a Monday to Friday, 9 to 5.
By the time you get home, finish at 3, then you do 2 hours of homework, you finish at 5.
Yeah, it's literally training you to work a 9 to 5, a Monday to Friday.
Yeah.
And then obviously you got the weekend off, you do whatever you want.
Yeah.
So that in itself is really interesting because, you know, like, you know, it was fun and I didn't really have any responsibility, and that's everything that is the opposite of being an entrepreneur. No responsibility. Your schedule is done for you. You don't have a say in how you schedule your time. You don't have time freedom. You're going by a certain, you know, a timetable that's set out for you. And
a playbook.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's interesting you said that. Now, my experience, obviously, we touched on this in episode 1 where it was a given that, you know, my parents being immigrants, that we were to go to school, excel in school, play sports on the side, but really school is the focus. And once you graduate school, get a good ATAR, go to university, finish university, get a job. That is literally the ethnic blueprint of how to live your life.
Yeah.
Okay.
In a sense as well, like that blueprint is obviously because, you know, 20, 30 years ago, 40 years ago, even more, like inflation was so different from now to then. And like our grandparents, they could literally get by working that 9 to 5. So, you know, for them to
we'll touch on that because there's a book that I'll bring up in a second that mentions the time that we're in now versus the time where our parents grew up. And so absolutely, that's how our parents thought
and I think
was the right thing, and that is what it is. So I guess for me, going through school, I always knew that it was fun. I had a good time in school.
Of course.
I think that I excelled in as much as I could have excelled in, but I noticed very early on that school is made for a specific type of person, and if you are not that specific type of person, you are an outcast. And you are told that you're stupid. It's kind of like what you said about Einstein. You're told that you're stupid. You're told that, you know, you're not going to really, you're never going to make it if you're not a specific type of person. Yeah. And so that's what I found on my journey, where I was more of an all-rounder, you know, definitely a people person in school. I wasn't an A plus student. But what I realized upon reflection is it's actually the students who can divide their time well. If you're a student and you're dividing your time well, where you have extracurricular activities, maybe you're doing debating, maybe you're doing sport, you've got a social life, you're usually maybe a C plus B student, because all your energy is not just going into study, exams. You're actually spread in terms of where your attention is going. And so what I found on reflection is those C plus students are the students who actually go on to be very successful in their life, because they've trained themselves to not just, you know, they've basically trained themselves to focus on other things, you know, take care of their social life, which is a big thing. In success, your social, how you interact with people, how you communicate with people, is a really big thing, and that's not really taught much in school, right?
And in a sense as well, that's your connection fan base. Like, you know, what I mean, going out meeting people, you know, you're putting yourself, you know, outside of your comfort zone to meet, you know, people that are wealthy and people that you want to obviously aspire to obviously be one day. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
The fact that you put yourself in that position, in that situation, to obviously getting to know people in that sense, obviously how they did it, and obviously, you know, how they went about it. It's special. You're right, 100%.
Yeah, absolutely. So that was like my experience with school. I noticed that I wasn't a student that was in the top tier,
Yeah.
but because I wasn't in the top tier and I was kind of like in the middle ground, I actually was able to build on skills that wasn't directly correlated with succeeding at school. So my social skills, you know, different passions, like there was so much else that I was able to focus on and actually build myself up, right? Then obviously you graduate and you're pushed as a default to go to uni. And this is what I find interesting, because I'm not necessarily against university. I'm against university as a default. When you're 18, 19, and 18, 19, by the way, yeah, you're an adult, but you're very young. You don't have much life experience. And you're pushed to enter into a course that you know nothing about, that you might not even be passionate about, but because it's been normalized, you're pushed into a certain course or a certain career path. And you're in this 5-year relationship with your uni degree where every year you're paying 10K, you know, every year you're wasting a year of not working and not saving, you're getting into debt. I don't agree with that as a default. Now, like you mentioned your girlfriend. I mean, I studied law as well. And so I understand that if you want to be a lawyer, if you want to be a doctor, if you want to be someone or have a career where it's a necessity to have a law degree, then go for it. But I'd even take it a step further. I'd actually go for a majority of people. Let's say you want to be a lawyer. You're probably better off taking a gap year. Take a gap year. Don't go into debt straight away. Don't go into uni straight away. Just take a gap year. Go get a job at a law firm. As an assistant, as a junior, whatever it is. Put yourself, because you mentioned about the practical experience, right? A lot of students will go in, get a degree, spend 5 years studying, and then come out of it, go into the atmosphere, you know, go to a law firm, and they realize, like, crap, I actually don't like this environment.
I agree.
I actually don't like this career. But it's too late by then, because you've kind of wasted 5 years studying and thousands of dollars of HECS debt. And so I'm not against university. I'm against it as a default, but also take time. Like, students are not encouraged these days to take a gap year and take their time with what they actually want to get themselves into, right? There is no rush, but we're making it seem as there is a rush. And I don't want to go too deep into the rabbit hole as to why that is, but at the end of the day, money rules everything. And at the end of the day, university is a business. The more students they get, the more money they're making.
Yeah, of
right?
course. Money's everything.
Everything, you know? As in, I'm talking about even the printing, the library, like everything, the parking at university. So it doesn't shock me that there's this push to just, you know, have thousands of students go in and study something that they might not even utilize one day. They don't care about whether or not you utilize it. They don't care about whether there's even a demand for an arts degree. What do you do with an arts degree? You go study an arts degree because... nothing. That's what you do with it. Nothing. You have it on your wall.
But that's what I mean. Like some degrees in that sense, like I do believe it's a massive waste of time. Like you're wasting 3 years to do, you know, a business degree or even commerce in a sense, when you can literally do a diploma for 6 months online about business, about commerce, get the papers 2.5 years earlier, and you're going to work full time while doing the diploma, so you can save a bit of money as well. Because with uni, it's full time. You can't work.
Absolutely.
You're making $200-300 a week, if that. But I feel like, you know, there's so many ways outside of uni that you can wrap your head around and get by. And I feel like diplomas are massive. Like, you know, you could get your mortgage, like the mortgage broking license diploma. Obviously now you got to go to uni for a year because they've changed the legislations. But I give you a real estate license. You do a diploma, 6-month diploma online, get your real estate license, still work full time in a sense. And then once you finish that, you get straight into the workforce. You know what I mean? Start making money. So there's lots of ways around it. And I feel like, you know, the uni is, I feel like a massive distraction in the sense of time management. You know what I mean? But like I said, if you want to become a lawyer, a doctor, and if you're passionate about that, like you said, like your dad might be a doctor and then you want to follow his dreams. So you do go to uni, become a doctor, do a doctor's degree, that's fair enough. And I know many people that, you know, want to become lawyers because they have uncles that are lawyers, they have people that, you know, lived around the law firm and all that. So that's fair enough. I respect that. The fact that they're willing to sit down for 7 hours, you know, 5 days a week, study, and, you know, it's a 7-year course. I respect that. You know what I mean? And I feel like once they do complete that, then I'll put my life on it that if they do pursue to do that law degree and they want to become a lawyer, they will become successful. But like you said, you're not doing law now. Like, you wasted, not, I wouldn't say wasted, like you grew lots of, you know, skills and life skills out of it, and it kind of, it's brought you to where you are today, Nate. You know what I mean? So I feel like all your past experiences in life, no matter if you go to uni, if you work at Harvey Norman, if you work, you know, anywhere in retail, whatever it is, you know, it's brought you to the person you are today. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I don't think...
So, it's a good thing that you went to uni, but it's also a bad thing because you waste your time. But I wouldn't say it's even a bad thing because it's brought you to the person you are today, and it's kind of brought you that anger and the hunger the hunger inside of you to, you know, to make it in life and to try and pursue something.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
absolutely. And look, there are two things to that. The first thing is, I don't think I made an informed decision. I think I was pushed into something, and like when we talk about the school system programming you, or how parents, you know, influence you at a deeper level to pursue something like law, I think I made I did not make an informed decision. Now, the second part to that as well, I wasted my time, and I will never look at anything as a waste. I think that life is life, and you learn things, and I learned many skills in my law degree. I came across many different people who I still am in touch with today.
And it makes you grow as a person.
Networking, who helped me network.
Connections.
Yeah, absolutely. So I wouldn't say anything's a waste, but I think that this ties into, because I want to talk about employment versus entrepreneurship, and there's this book, it's called Business of the 21st Century, and it's by Robert Kiyosaki. And he actually talks about the industrial age versus the information age. Now, the industrial age is where our parents grew up in, where for you to go to uni and actually get a skill was actually, it was essential. You were being paid on that. You know, you go to uni, you get a skill, you translate that at your work, and you get paid, and then you obviously, the American dream and the Australian dream is go get a mortgage and pay off your property for the next 40 years. So that was the industrial age, and that's how our parents were raised.
And that was very doable.
Say that again.
And that was very doable back.
I think it was more doable then, because that's all there was. There wasn't, like, we live in a completely different time now.
Oh, technology, everything.
Exactly.
100%.
Exactly.
Yeah,
so
it's evolved.
Absolutely. So the information age is what we're in right now, where there are kids out there making like 10K a month on the internet, utilizing artificial intelligence, utilizing ChatGPT, right? So we're in that age right now where what was looked on, so, you know, it was really impressive for you to go get a law degree, and like that stuff's going to be replaced in the next 5-10 years by AI. It's not as essential anymore.
I want to say 10 years, but...
What's that?
I want to say 10 years.
It's going to be less than 10 years.
I feel like there's still lots of jobs in a sense that I feel like, I understand that they're making robots at this point. Like, you know, I don't know if you've seen, but like in America, they've made robots that look like humans, and like they walk and they talk. Like, it's pretty scary in a sense, but I feel like to a certain point, I feel like, I want to say 10 years, maybe in the next 50 years, maybe.
No way.
We'll see.
No way. I disagree with that. And we might put a poll up. I disagree with that 100%. If you see how the internet has
transformed
in the last 10 years.
Yeah, I agree with you.
And you watch what happens with artificial intelligence and ChatGPT and you know, even the Apple Vision thing that came out recently. Technology.
What are your thoughts on that, man?
It's not gonna. We'll get into that. We'll get into it. But
what would you
it's
call
not. It's called Apple Vision. I'm pretty sure.
Apple glasses, Apple Vision.
Apple Vision, yeah. So it's not 50 years. It's not going to be 50 years. It will be a good 5 years before
certain jobs. I agree. Like robots take advantage, like the factory jobs and all that.
No. I'm not even talking about factory jobs. I'm talking about jobs where you need a degree. Like, for example, I'll give you an example. Right now, if you're at a law firm and you're a junior lawyer, and I'm a principal. Let's say I'm a principal at a law firm, and I've got 3 junior lawyers who are working for me, and they do all the work, and all I have to do is review it and sign it off and send it off to a client. And I'm paying each of these junior lawyers $60,000 each. What's stopping me when this technology becomes available, because it will very soon, what is stopping me from buying a subscription to a ChatGPT that is so refined that I can basically ask it.
All the articles to you,
I can basically ask it. Please write a letter to a client explaining Section 58 of the Crimes Act and why that blah 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 blah, whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
And
Whatever
it will
the specific
spit me
crime
out.
was.
It will spit me out better than what my 3 junior lawyers can do. It will spit me out exactly what I need, and then me as a senior, all I have to do is review it and sign it off, which is what they were doing anyway. But instead of me paying 60, 60, 60, I'm actually saving money paying into a subscription. And so what I think is going to happen with AI, and then we'll move back to this, is so many jobs are going to go under, and you're going to find that at each law firm, they're only going to keep the top 1% of employees, and they're going to get rid of the rest. So if you're a junior lawyer and you're not at the top,
it won't completely eliminate all employees.
it
but
will eliminate a majority of
main
employees.
source, yeah, I agree with that. But
So not all, and that's why I said
Yeah.
the top 1%
and
will
that's what I
stay.
said. Maybe in 50 years' time, it might get rid of all employees in 50
Mate,
years' time.
50 years is a
It's a
long
long time. I know, but
It's
I'm
a long
saying
time, and I'm telling
it's
you,
not going to get rid of every single employee in a sense of 5-10 years. You might get rid of a couple. Like obviously, ChatGPT has come such a long way in the past
absolutely.
year. So maybe, like I said, maybe in the next 5-10 years, you're right, but not every single employee. No way.
I never said every.
Because I feel like there's so many people out there like us that don't want robots or like AI doing
absolutely,
their job.
absolutely.
So we prefer a human being that has worked hard to get there to do the work for us.
Absolutely.
Because at the same age, like they were doing it back then, and they've done a fantastic job, and even now they're doing a fantastic job. So I feel like there's so many people out there that won't accept.
Ooh, well, look, I think
I definitely won't as well.
I think at the end of the day, and I agree, I don't accept it either.
But I feel like at the end of the day, we won't have a choice. That's the thing as well. We won't have a choice.
Exactly. So
You know what I mean?
here's the thing, right? I never said that they'd get rid of all employees.
Yeah, no, of
I'm
course.
saying that a vast majority,
Yep.
the middle class, is going to be destroyed because they're going to keep the top 1% of employees in each job. So maybe if the majority go, it might be like 8 and 10 that get fired.
Yep.
And the top 1-2% are the ones who stay.
Yep.
Now, when you say we don't want it, it's like we don't want a lot of things that are happening without us wanting it. Like when they come to the time that they're going to ban, fuel-based cars, we don't want that. I don't want that. But it's going to happen. And we don't want it to happen, but it's probably, they're going to find ways to legislate.
Like even now, like there's more Teslas on the road and all that.
Exactly.
I feel like that's all a power thing as well, and like it's a control thing. Like the government want to have control of everything you're doing. They want to know where you are. They want to have control of your vehicle that you drive. So come to a point that it's all about control in a sense. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, it's interesting you bring up control because people think that control starts from, like they think that we're going into that phase where the government's trying to control us, but it actually, going back to the school system, it started at the school system.
Yeah.
It started with the programming of students in primary school.
And like it's funny,
And that's how they control the mind. Because let me just say something, then we'll move on to the employment versus entrepreneurship. But when you're a child, you watch children. They are the most chaotic, they dream so big, they're so creative. Children are incredible humans to watch. They're not afraid. You have a kid go to a fat guy in the elevator and say, "Mummy, why is he fat?" to his face.
Yeah.
Like they don't have the filter. Kids are,
and you can't do nothing about it because they're kids. You know what I mean?
well, yeah, that's besides the point. But yeah, you can't. You're not gonna freaking bash the kid in.
Yeah.
But the point is, kids are so free flowing, and they're just so there's this spirit that they're so creative and all that, and then they get to the school system, and over the years, year after year, they're now put in lines, bang, bang, bang. Like this is how you have to behave. If you can't sit still in class, you've got ADHD. If you can't concentrate on this subject, there's something wrong with you. And they start slowly over the years programming these children to stop being creative, stop being, stop dreaming big, stop, thinking that you're Superman. And they start to program them. They instill fear in them. They start to program them to be, think a bit less for themselves. Think less for yourself. Don't think of yourself so highly.
Yeah.
Because if you do, you're arrogant.
Yeah.
If you don't focus in class, you've got a mental problem. You need to go get medication. That's a whole nother conversation on diagnosing kids at a young age that I'm completely against. But yeah, I mean that ties into the programming of the school.
Yeah, and that ties into as well. Like I was going to bring this up as well before. Even what they're teaching now to like kids in prep and grade 1 about like this whole like sexuality and all that. Like they're reading them books on sexual intercourse and that. Like it's not on, man. And they're trying to introduce this to kids, and like now you can't even say female and male in class. You got to be very careful of what you say to a certain point. Like it's not right in a sense at all. Like, you know, we've come such a long way, I agree, with the school system, but it's just, I feel like it's getting worse and worse and worse. And like, it's our fault as well, because the parents, they're not, you know, they're not dragging the kids out of school. They're not sticking up for it. They're just, no, it's all right. You know, they're just kids, you know, they get on. But,
So why do you think that is? Why do you think that's happening to kids?
oh, it's a massive topic to say that. Like, I could sit here and talk about it for hours, Nate. But I just feel like they're trying to normalise, and they're trying to get kids to understand that, you know, even 6 a young age, it's normal. You know what I mean?
But why do you think that they're indoctrinating kids?
Well, what would you say to that, Nate? What would you say? The fact that you're asking me, what would you say?
I know why they are.
You answer that
Right?
question. You tell me.
So, if you're thinking about, once again, if we go back to control, it's very difficult to, when you have had a human who's gone through early ages of development, gone through school, has learnt to think for themselves, has learnt to analyze information, decipher what's wrong from right, think about things critically. It's very hard to control a person like that. Really hard. And we're very lucky because I grew up in a time where this stuff wasn't prominent. It wasn't in our faces a lot.
It wasn't at all, man.
Okay,
It
so
wasn't.
we were lucky because I grew up and, you know, I was able to develop really good skills to critically think about things, to view information and really, you know,
enhance your knowledge as well.
make the right decision
Yeah.
on certain things. So to answer your question, or to answer the question I asked about why they're doing this, is because the easiest population to control is the youth. And if you can control the youth, if you can control 15-year-olds and 14-year-olds and 7-year-olds, and you can indoctrinate them with what you want,
With books as well.
right? With what you want,
Yeah.
the agenda that you want, then they are going to do everything you need them to do when they become adults. They're going to vote the way you want them to vote. They're going to promote the legislation you want to pass through Parliament. They're going to protest the things that you want them to protest, right? An example of this really quickly, and then we'll move on. My sister graduated school maybe a year or two ago.
Yep.
So she just turned 20 maybe like last week. And during school, and she went to a Christian school, by the way. She went to a Christian school, Donvale, right? During school, she was a Greens voter. And I would have these conversations with her, and I'm like, why would you vote for the Greens? And I don't care like what your political view is, that's fine. I'm just saying, for us, I'm like, to me, I think the Greens are absolutely nutcases, but that's besides the point. I said, well, why are you voting for the Greens? And she said, I don't know, but I'm voting for the Greens. So she was already being indoctrinated to vote a particular way because of how the school is shaping her to think. And it was only after she left school that I was able to challenge her, and I was able to show her certain pieces of information that she started to think about it. And over the years, a year or two, she was like, why would I vote for the Greens, right? So it's all indoctrination, because if you can get a hold on the youth, what are the youth going to be in a few years? They're going to be the voters of the country.
Well, the youth...
They're going to run... They're basically... they become the adults,
To answer your question in a short sentence, the youth is
it's the future. Absolutely.
The jobs and whatever you want to call
Absolutely.
it, AI.
And so how do you...
It's the future.
So how... If you want control of the world right now, without war...
Yeah.
Without war, if you want control of the world right now, without war, we don't want many people to die. And look, there are wars happening at the moment, but without a massive war, you control the youth, and you get them to think in the way that you want them to think and behave in the way that you want them to behave, so that when you're ready with your agenda, there's no war, there's no fighting, there's nothing. They're basically like you've created robots. You know what I mean? So now, I guess in terms of the industrial age and the information age, we've touched on this a lot already. Why we're being programmed, or school programs people to not think outside of the box, to not pursue, to not have a big vision, to not pursue entrepreneurship, and to kind of just be a good employee. Yeah. What are your thoughts on that specifically?
I'm against it until a certain point, but at the same time, like, I feel like the fact that they're trying to implement us to, like I said, 5 days a week, from 9 to 3, then after you go home and study for 2 hours or whatever it is. So it is literally programming to work 9 to 5. But I feel like the whole point of it is obviously, the government, they don't make money off businesses, man. Like, they make money off employees, people that sign up for businesses, and they make money because they pay, taxes and all that. So I feel like it is all money thing as well. And I feel like if every single person on planet Earth had a business, the government will be like there'll literally be no government because you'll be running your own business, you'll be running your own rules, you'll be running your own money. Obviously, there's taxes to be paid, but in a sense, like the government will suffer so much from it because they literally survive off the normal 9 to 5. You know what I mean? The government literally survive off the normal 9 to 5 person, you know, the employee. And that's why when a person come up to me and says like, you know, what's your whole vision behind, you know, starting a business, or what's your whole motivation behind starting a business? That's my motivation, to be successfully self-funded and to literally do whatever the F I want and have no one has any power over me. Like, I pay my taxes, I'll do what I want, you know what I mean? But I have enough money to go places, to buy whatever I want, cars, houses, whatever, clothes, whatever it could be. Like, that's literally my motivation into working for something that I want to obviously make into not only a business, but like I said, a legacy, man. You know what I mean? And people like know the brand and the franchise of, you know, who I am and my beliefs. But like the whole point of it is freedom. That's the whole point of it, freedom. But yeah, like I said, we are programmed in a sense that, you know, 9 to 5 is normal, you know, and it is still normal for people to think that, you know, and if they want to think that's fine. But I feel like the government benefit so much from it, you know, to the normal 9 to 5. They do so much. And I feel like if people just flick the switch and, you know, start opening businesses here and there, even if they don't succeed in the first couple of years, just stick by it, keep going, you know what I mean?
Absolutely. And this will tie into the next, you know, topic of lack of life skills.
Yeah.
Okay, but for me, when I think about the school system, if you challenge a teacher, you get in trouble. You get sent to the principal's office. You get a detention. So in school, you can't challenge ideas. You can't challenge, you know, authority. In entrepreneurship, it's actually really important to challenge ideas and things that are put in front of you.
Well, that's what makes you a better person and a better, you know, self-belief. Like even in the business field, man, that's what makes you a businessman.
Yeah.
Whatever businesswoman, whatever you say, but like putting yourself out there and challenging your beliefs and your morals in a sense that, you know, putting yourself in the comfort zone, it makes you a better person, a better human being, and it'll make you succeed more in life.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know
So that's one thing, right? Another thing, you sit an exam.
Yeah.
And by the way, an exam that is literally the same, like you are being tested in the same way for thousands of different students who are, you know, who have different skills and different strengths, and someone's more practical and another person's more in theory, and someone is very calm and in an exam setting and someone's really nervous and it affects them. So that in itself is ridiculous that we're all being tested in a very same way. But you sit an exam and you get an F. In school, that's frowned upon. In entrepreneurship, when you fail something, it is a good thing because you need to fail. It's viewed as a positive, and it's viewed as, well, why is that a bad thing? It's not viewed as a bad thing in entrepreneurship and in business. It's viewed as like, okay, you failed, you're a step closer. So there are probably 100 other things like that where, once again, when we come back to the programming, it's teaching children how to not be entrepreneurs and how to be employees, right? And it's coming into lack of life skills. These skills, like when you're not able to challenge a teacher or you get in trouble for challenging a teacher, how are you supposed to, you know, develop the skill of interacting with people you disagree with?
And people that are much older than you.
Or negotiating.
And you got to
absolutely.
And you got to put into it as well. Like the teacher's much older than you in a sense as well.
Yeah.
So the fact that you have the guts and the balls to stand up to a teacher and say, look, miss or mister or whatever it is, you know, I feel like it's this or I feel like it's that. But if you do that, you get in trouble.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? And that brings that character not only in yourself, but in your, you know, in your sense of like, you know, succeeding in life, and in the sense of like making yourself a bigger and better person.
Absolutely.
The fact that you're standing up to someone older than you, like your teacher, which is nothing wrong with that. But in school, there is something wrong with that. You know what I mean? Because the teacher's always right.
Yeah. Well, it's you're conditioned to
always right. And like you have that that pressure and stress as well with school. And I feel like it is a mental health thing as well in a sense. You know what I mean? Like the whole pressure and stress of, you know, you can't say what you want to a teacher, you can't express the way you want to feel. Like you can to a certain point, but if the teacher doesn't like what you say, you're in the wrong, no matter what. You know what I mean? You sit outside, detention, whatever it is. I came across that so many times in school. I was very outspoken, whatever it was.
Yeah.
But there's so much mental health that goes on in schools and young kids where it's not normal, and it makes them a weaker person. It makes them more fragile, more scared, and the fact that they will become successful in life is really low because they've had such a bad time in school because the whole pressure of exams and the expectation to succeed. And if you get an F and your best mate gets an A, like, you're dumb. You know what I mean? Your best mate's the smartest kid in the world. The whole point is, just to go there, go by, do your normal 9 to 3, and like that's what I mean. If I knew what school was all about right now, like I would look at it so differently. I wouldn't take it so seriously. I did take it seriously. I was a scaredy. You know what I mean? I barely got detentions. I did sometimes, but my mum used to really, really like lose it.
Yeah.
When I got detentions, like I used to wear the wrong colour socks. Like I never used to listen. But if I knew what I did now, I'll look at school and I'll literally be so different. Literally so different. I wouldn't do exams. I literally would have maybe dropped out and maybe start a trade, to be fair. Get money early on, save up.
Absolutely.
But that's what I mean, man. Like when people drop out of school, what are you dropping out of school for? You're dumb. Why aren't you still in BCE? But they're the kids that are smart because they're dropping out and they have 2-3 years ahead of you. Like you finish year 12, you have $0 to your account.
Yep.
You have kids drop out in year 10.
Yep.
They've saved already 50-60K in 2 years from doing a trade.
They've invested it.
Or whatever they do, they're young. If they're smart enough to invest it in such a young age, good on them. And then they have another 2 years, and then they'll complete their whatever the electrician course, and then from there they'll make 100K plus a year at 20 years old. You know what I mean? Like credit to them. They're the entrepreneur people, man. The people that want to start a trade and do that.
Yeah.
I know you're working for someone, but the fact that they're working for someone at such a young age, that's literally. I feel like that's being self-employed. That's usually like taking on the next step in your future and becoming an entrepreneur and starting your life in a better way. Because the fact that they're finishing school and they have $80,000 to $90,000 in their bank account when people finishing year 12 they've got nothing. You know what I mean? And then they go to uni next year. What do they have to say for themselves?
Yeah, no, absolutely,
You know what I mean?
absolutely.
Well, look, there's lots of topics and lots of aspects we could talk about.
Oh, you could go into this in so many different ways.
It's ridiculous, man. But yeah, look, I feel like the pressure stressing is. Like I was stressed too much, man, way too much. But lucky enough that I had soccer to get the anger and the stress out of it as well. So I trained 3 days a week as well through school, and that was a massive thing as well that got me through school. I feel like sports is such a massive thing, socially, physically, mentally, everything, man. And that's something that when I have kids, like I'm gonna get them to do like whatever it is, self-defense, taekwondo, soccer, AFL, put them to a sport, man, put them to a sport, socially, physically, mentally, it's amazing.
Yeah.
Like obviously, they'll go to school, they'll get by, but at the same time, if they're struggling in friends, school, because you have kids growing up, you might struggle with friendships, you might have a date, you might have a crush on a girl and, it might not go well, then you feel stressed, but then when you go to that specific sport training, you kind of get all your stress and mind off everything.
Yeah,
you know what
it's
I mean?
an outlet.
And it's a relief thing as well. And that makes you a better person, I feel like, in a sense as well.
Yeah,
You know
absolutely.
what
Yeah.
So
I agree. But yeah, obviously, what I was going to say before, and then we'll move on to it. We'll do a bit of Q&A.
Q&A questions, yeah.
But yeah, look, you're obviously, from
Lack
a
of
young
life
age,
skills.
as I mentioned, you're conditioned to behave in a certain way, to, obey authority, not question authority. And look, I think that when it comes to authority, like you have to respect your boss at work, respect
your elders.
Respect your elders,
Yeah,
but
that's all in good time, man. Like, it's old school.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I know I'm for that as well. I'm 100% for that.
But I think that, you kind of letting people walk all over you, which is what you're taught, and not really standing up for what you want. Like when you're at a job and you're being taken advantage of, and there are so many people who are probably find themselves in this boat where like inflation is just insane. The cost of living has gone up and people are still on incomes of just like the minimum wage, right? So I think if you're from a young age conditioned to not be able to stand up to authority and not demand a pay rise or not demand a promotion, it's going to affect you overall, right? And it translates in your 9 to 5, where I don't know how many people out there are stuck in their job and they can't afford the day-to-day living, and they're just stuck. They don't know what to do. They're trying to find side hustles. That's very difficult. A lot of people are struggling these days to actually get ahead, especially with the cost of living. So, anyways, we'll go into a bit of Q&A, I reckon, and then we'll touch on. Maybe we'll go to alternative education models. That'd be good.
Yeah, 100%.
All right.
Done.
So what?
Some Q&A questions.
Q&A. I'll ask you a few.
From our lovely fan base.
From the Insta
Social
Insta
media.
post that went up. Okay, so I'll ask you. So tips on starting a business. What would you say are
Tips on
like your
starting a
top
business.
3 tips?
Top 3 tips. My first tip for starting a business, guys, is I reckon having that never give up attitude, and that's number 1. Never give up. Right? Number 1 tip: never give up. All right. I'm not gonna go more than that because at the end of the day, it's pretty simple. Never give up, and I feel like if you never give up in the sense that you always try and do better, and even if you fail, like look at it as a positive. Look back at time of like, why did I fail? And the next time you do it, change the ways you do it. And I feel like reflecting on life and reflecting on anything you do, in a sense, business, work, sports, is massively. Like I reflect on when I play games, soccer. I reflect on the games I played, and then I'll put those reflections of where I stuffed up into the next game.
Yeah, absolutely.
And try and not do the exact same thing. And that's the same with the business. You know what I mean? You might have one day in a business, so you might work at a cafe and you might do something wrong, and you reflect on it that night, and then the next day you don't do that, and you change the ways you do it. So I feel like never give up attitude, and reflecting on yourself as well is a massive thing. Visioning for me is huge, man. Like if you vision something in life, that's kind of the first goal, I feel like, and that's kind of the first step into becoming successful. The fact that you can vision something, you're literally halfway there. I feel like. The rest of it's hard work. You know what I mean? The vision side of it is literally you're halfway there. If you can vision it, if you can sense it, if you can feel it, if you can smell it, you know what I mean? In your blood. And our minds are so powerful, man. Like if you could put your mind to anything, you will literally accomplish it in life. And that's what God created us.
Yeah,
you know what
absolutely.
I mean? And that's why, going back to this school thing, you know what I mean? Like they don't want us to vision nothing. Like
that's what I mean. Yeah.
And all the subjects you do, bro, like business management, legal studies. Like I did all that, man. Like business management for what? And I was so intrigued of starting business when I was young in year 12, but business management was literally like a load of crap. It was so like even the exam I remember like one part of the exam was like coming up with understanding 20 definitions of what's entrepreneurship, what's this, what's that, like. Anyway, just so
well, on that, studying business is vastly different to doing a business.
Yeah, exactly, and that's what I mean
it is
as well,
so
like,
different. Like I don't care if you've studied a business.
Yeah.
It is so different to go and do a business degree or study business in school to actually practically building a business. It is so different.
Yeah.
So
tips starting business: never give up. Vision it. Reflect on yourself as well. Every day, reflect for yourself. That's a massive thing.
Big.
And I feel like the most important thing as well is your connections, your fan, like not even your fan base, your connections, your people that you interact with that are successful in the sense that you want to be one day. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That you look up to, not even look up to, that you want to be one day. Like you see them drive that nice car, they rock up in a nice suit, they have a lovely family. They're wealthy, they're well off. So interacting and talking to them and even saying how's your day, what have you been up to, like just interacting with people that are successful in a sense will make you a successful person once upon a time. But like I said, it's putting yourself out there, it's making yourself feel uncomfortable in a sense, because going up to a person that's wealthy that is a multi-millionaire, it's a bit confronting. But I feel like if you have the balls to, and if you spend time with the right people that have the same vision and the same mindset as you, that want to be successful and that are successful, you will get there once upon a time. So
my 3 tips.
Go.
I
said like 4 tips.
You had an advantage because you started first.
Yeah, but all right.
But I got a solid 3 tips.
Okay.
Solid.
Yeah.
The first one, go into it knowing that nothing good is easy.
Yep.
Nothing good is easy. Go into whatever you're about to start and know that it's going to be hard. And it might start off really nice and colors, rainbows, 100%, right? But go into it knowing that there's going to be resistance. There's going to be hard times. People are going to ghost you. People are going to talk trash about you. Nothing good comes easy. And if it was that easy to become a multimillionaire, then everyone would be a multimillionaire. So 100%. If you can get that into your head, if you're 16, 17, 18, and you're starting on this journey, if you can just tell yourself nothing good comes easy, because if it was easy, everybody would be doing it. Everybody would be successful. That is like the first thing that you need to unlock.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay? Second tip, networking. And I think you touched on this. If you are 16, 17, 18, the more you networking is the best thing that I have ever done with my time in my life. When you meet people who, by the way, are better than you, not at your level or below you, you will become a better person. You will learn things. You will
100%.
Gain skills. You will get better with how you communicate with people.
Yeah.
Networking is so powerful, and I think it's a tool that is so undermined, and it's free. It's free to network. It's free to go to events and talk to people who are in suits and who have a lot of money.
And I know lots of people be like, what am I getting out of meeting that person? What am I getting out of speaking with that person? What am I getting out of this? Like,
Wow.
Bro, I understand that at the point of time, you might not get nothing out of it, but you got to look at it and you got to vision it. And like the fact that you're surrounding yourself with people like that, it's so powerful in a sense. In years to come, you might start a business, then you look back to the one moment that you met this one person, right? Or you might have his contact details and he might be in the same field as you and you can reach out to him and he can help you. You know what I mean?
Let me tell you, I'll put it like this. I have never had a relationship with someone where I did not benefit. And there are two ways that I benefited. I had a relationship with someone I was out there networking, built a relationship with someone, and they really helped excel my mindset, my skills. They put me on a right direction. We had great conversations. It was very positive.
Yeah.
Okay? The other one is I had a relationship with someone that was very negative, whether it was a breakup or, one of my friends who, we don't talk anymore. And that, even that, where it goes really bad, built me to be a better person as well, right? So networking is my second tip.
Yep.
When you are young, get in rooms that make you feel uncomfortable. Because if you stay in the comfort zone, you are never going to grow. You're never going to be better. You're just going to be a loser your whole life. Tip number 2. Tip number 3, and you're not going to like this, but this is tip number 3.
Read books.
Read books. Let's go.
I know, but don't worry.
Let's go. And I mean it. Because the more you read, the more you expand this, the more you expand this, the more you... What's that? Are you going to sing us a song, bro?
Baby.
Oi, are you going to sing us a song?
Read books, baby.
Bro, sing us some Taylor Swift, man. She's down here in Melbourne.
Bro, apparently she's got 3 concerts in a row.
It's because she read books, bro.
100,000 people.
It's because she read books, bro. Nah, jokes. But no, seriously, yeah, she's impressive. Do you like Taylor Swift, by the way?
No.
You don't like her, do you? See, I didn't used to like her. And now I'm just impressed by her.
Why?
But she's I don't know.
She's
what do you mean why?
She's a celebrity.
She's impressive. Like, but you just said yourself, she's got 3 concerts. She's got more crowds than the AFL Grand Final. Exactly. So I'm impressed. But anyway, so third tip.
Very good.
Third tip. Read books. And I'm not talking about your freaking Harry Potter and Hunger Games. I'm talking about education books, personal development, Atomic Habits. What's that?
What's wrong with Harry Potter?
Well, if you want to become a wizard, read Harry
You're
Potter.
A wizard.
If you want to become a wizard, read Harry Potter. I know there are a few people out there who want to be wizards and witches, so go for it. But I'm talking about, Outwitting the Devil, Atomic Habits, Compound Effect, the Laws of Success.
Finances.
The 4 laws of, financial
freedom.
What is it? Is it financial freedom? I don't know. Like, is it?
Yeah.
You don't even know.
100% they'll do, bro.
Yeah.
Type it up right now.
Type it up. What is it? No, the 4 laws of financial prosperity.
Prosperity.
This guy.
Prosperity turns into freedom.
Pretending like you.
Yeah.
You
know what I mean? It turns into freedom.
Yeah. 4 laws of financial prosperity. Yeah, cool.
Prosperity.
So look,
but if you know those 4 laws, it will make you financially free.
Yeah, absolutely.
So there's nothing wrong with that.
From my experience, like when I say read books, even with something like this, if you think that we're going to be able to take our content to another level without putting content into
time and effort into our mind. Exactly.
Not time and effort.
But it is time, but you're reading books.
Absolutely.
But it is effort.
Absolutely. But I'm talking about content. Yep. I'm talking about information that you read from books.
Yep.
Like when you read a book, you actually add depth to you as a person. Right? We're all people, and every time you read a book that helps with personal development, you add a new layer of depth onto you. It's like an onion. You're adding layers to that beautiful onion, right? So I think my third tip would be read really good books, and it will expand your mind. It won't only just expand your mind and make you smarter, but it will expand your potential to dream. Because the more that you've got in here, the more you can be like, crap, like I can actually dream a lot bigger. It opens your eyes to things. So I'll just leave it at that.
Done.
But
next question.
All right, life goals.
Life goals?
Yeah.
You can start off with this, mate, because I'll start off with the first one.
Life goals. All right.
No, I reckon we should come up with at least, say 5 or 3.
Well, I'm not going to tell everyone my life goals. I'll go with
3. Go with 3 life goals.
Go with 3.
Go with 3.
Okay, so financial freedom.
Yep.
So
that's a must.
That's a big thing.
That's top of the list.
Financial freedom. I want to be able to...
Do you want to go word from word? Do you want to go...
Yeah, let's do one of it. So one of mine is financial freedom.
Yeah, one of yours financial freedom. My turn now?
Yeah.
I could say the exact same thing, but I'll say something more. Life goals. Life goals. I feel like one of my massive life goals is to have a lovely and beautiful family, and to do whatever I want, whenever I want, with them, and to get. Because at the end of the day, like I want to have a family, I want to have a big family, I want to have kids and all that. No matter what, boy or girl, I don't care. As long as they're healthy, that's the thing as well. As long as they're healthy, that's the main thing. But I want them to have the best possible future in life possible, and that I could give them. So I feel like that's probably top of the list as well, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
But at the end of the day, that kind of, relates to your one as well.
Yeah, no, that's
that relates
definitely
to it.
definitely one of mine as well.
But I was trying to come up with something different.
Yeah.
So that's probably one as well.
No, that's definitely one of mine as well. Like for my future partner.
Yeah.
I'm built as a provider. That's just how I'm built as a person.
Yeah.
Like if we go out, I am paying 100% of the time.
And
if you need something, I am paying 100% of the time. If we have kids, I'm not sending my kids to school, and we'll talk about that in more detail in a second. But if we have kids, I need to be able to provide the resources for them to be able to get a good education without going to school, which is going to cost a lot of money.
Yeah, the right access to sports, the right access for them to have the best foods, like whatever it is. You know what I mean? Doctors and all that, health system. It's important, man.
Absolutely. And, so big one for me as well.
You hit the nail on the head, man. 100%.
What's another one of yours? Oh wait, we're up to me.
Go up to you.
Another life goal.
Life goal. Can I go?
Yeah.
Can I interrupt you? One of my other life goals is to give back to the world, man.
Oh yeah, bro, we're so similar, bro. Bro, like literally.
Top of the list, man. To give back to people. Like, look, I see a homeless person. Like, I was at Woolworths the other day and I saw a homeless guy. And like I checked my card and like I had $20 note, man, and I wanted to give him something. So like, I felt bad. So I thought $20 was a bit too much. So I went in. I bought a chocolate. I had $15 left. I gave him $15. But just the fact of making his day, because I knew I made his day, man, and like we had a bit of a chat as well, like But I feel like we're all human, man, and I feel like God has put us on this planet to love, hate, like literally says in the Bible, hate no neighbor, love all, no matter what, no matter what beliefs, no matter if you're Muslim, Orthodox, whatever it is, man, like hate no neighbor, love everyone for who they are, what they believe in, because I'm telling you, if everyone is together and if everyone loves each other, there won't be no wars, there won't be no government taking over power and all that crap. Because at the end of the day, it's all about division. Like even with this, even that whole COVID thing, it was all division. What the vax and the non-vax. I mean, that's a whole other story anyway. But like hate no neighbor, give back to people that are in need, and like they might have got there because they're druggies or alcoholics, but they had a life. They probably had kids. They're humans like us as well. You know what I mean? So not everyone's perfect. But I feel like that's one goal that I want to get to life. Like I want to go visit countries that are in need and go to kids and build villages, build homes, whatever I can do, man, with whatever money I have and will have in the future and years to come, which I know I will. But yeah, I feel like giving back brings a sense of happiness in my heart as well, man, and in my soul, in my spirit as well. I feel like that's probably top of the list, man, as well, with building a family, giving back.
I really don't want to be mirroring what you're saying,
bro,
but
I feel like
that is one of mine as well, and I mean it. Like I want to be able to have so much money that I don't have to worry about money. The same way that in a first world country we don't worry about access to water, access to food. I don't want to have to worry about money.
Exactly.
It's a tap that's turned on, and it is flowing and it is abundant, and I want to be able to, wherever I am, just go in and give someone, go into a store and buy someone a meal. Go into a store and buy someone whatever they need if they're in need.
And you can do that now. Like, you don't have all the money in the world. And I'm doing that now. Like, even when I was 18, 19, I was always giving back, like, to people on the street wanting money that are begging. Like, I know that they've been put in that position because obviously, they might not have the best education, obviously drugs, alcohol, whatever it is, but at the end of the day, they're human. And I feel like God has put us on this planet as well, to a sense that, for us to find someone to fall in love with, have kids, start a family, and so on, you know what I mean? So you can start a legacy, grow your family, and so forth. But at the same time, you got to love everyone around you, man, no matter what. And I'm a massive believer in that, because I feel like if you put that in your mind and if you put that in your, in your hearts, I reckon, like, it's so powerful to give back to someone, even if it's $10-15 or whatever it is, like. You made their day, man. You know what I mean? And it'll go a long way. You know what
absolutely. I mean? So I don't give money to homeless people. The only time I'll give money to homeless people if they're out there working, as in, you know, those people in the city who do the car windows.
Yeah.
I will whip out a 50 and give them a 50 easily.
Remember the other day we were
Easily,
driving?
yeah, that was so funny.
I gave this guy for $6, and I'm going, don't do my car, do the car behind me.
I was
And then
like,
this
what
guy's in
the hell?
car, and the guy just starts doing his window, and he's like, wait, what are you doing? And then the guy was like, no, the guy in the car in front of you told me to do
I
it.
was like,
haha,
Christos. That was funny. So those guys, I respect the hustle.
They're grinding.
They're grinding.
So you're like that.
So I don't, if there's a homeless guy just sitting there begging for money, I will always go ask him, are you hungry? Do you need water? Do you need food? And I'll go get him what he needs, but I'm not going to give him cash. I'll only give cash to the ones who are hustling.
Would you feel like if you give them cash, then they'll spend it on something that is not of use?
Well, it's just, I don't know, it's just a principle of mine. I don't want to, there's no right or
But
wrong.
at the end of the day, you still give him back. You know
Absolutely,
what I mean?
absolutely.
Yeah,
And we'll talk about this in more detail maybe another podcast, but I really want to partner with a charity, and I have a charity in mind. I'll talk to you about it off the camera.
And that's still part of us as well.
Absolutely. I want Tycho to be partnered with charities where we can...
And we're on talks, guys, so don't stress.
Yeah, definitely we're talking about it, where we can really give back and...
Yeah, of course.
And it can be a big part of our brand as well. So, all right, next question. I think we only did 2, but I think 2 each is okay for now. I think they were quite...
I could say 10, but it's all good.
Quite detailed,
Yeah.
100%.
All right, now, I'll go start with this one.
All right, go.
But I'm going to ask you.
Yeah.
But I'm going to start off the question. Info about our next giveaway. Nate?
Info about our next giveaway.
Where are we?
Where are we? We're still... Look, I'm just going to be completely transparent and honest with everyone. It's taking a lot because there's a lot that we have to do behind the scenes to make sure that the next giveaway runs smoothly.
That's all a learning curve. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Yeah. So a big part of our business is obviously the monthly giveaways where we have a member base and you guys buy into, you know, having access to tickets for these giveaways. Now, it's all in the works, but there's a lot that we have to do behind the scenes to make sure that it's right before it's actually live and it's launched. Now, do we tell them what our next giveaway is going to be, or...?
Stay tuned for that, guys.
Stay tuned.
Stay tuned, but we're obviously working a lot in behind the scenes of creating such a fantastic dashboard for you guys when you guys do sign up to be members monthly, right? Whatever it is, if it's, you know, package 1, 2, or 3, you know, you guys have access to, you know, the top brands and retail stores nationwide. We're working with multiple businesses at the moment, so that is coming very soon for you guys. So obviously stay tuned for that and stay in touch. But yeah, at the end of the day, we just want to give back to you guys, and like I said, mate, we don't want just to give these crappy discounts out. You know, we want the best of the best. Yeah. Support you guys no matter what, 100%. But at the same time, you guys are still in the chance to win an amazing prize. You know what I mean? So, you know, you're helping us, but we're helping you guys just as much as well, which is what we want. You know what I mean? Which is fantastic, and we're looking forward to it. You know what I mean? But it's very soon, within the next month or so. We are looking forward to it. So, exciting times.
It'll be good.
Exciting times, Nate.
It'll be good. All right. We'll end with this last question.
Yeah, last one. Done. We've got heaps, but...
And then, I know...
We can save it for the next podcast.
We'll save it for the next one, yeah. And then we'll kind of go into the rest of the podcast, and then we'll wrap up. But
Done.
What are some challenges you face so far in this journey?
Well, top challenges is obviously talking to you every day, because you're always... No, I'm joking.
No, honestly, I'll tell you something. I was actually going to... It's funny, because I know you're joking. But working with someone's not easy. When you're different personalities,
I feel like it has been pretty easy. No, has it been?
No. I'm not talking about us. I'm just talking in general. Like we're actually okay.
Like it come to a point that like people like literally punch on over each other, like over something, proper.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I feel like we balance each other really well, like you said. You know what I mean? And we have the same beliefs and morals in the sense that we do align. We
didn't even plan our goals, by the way, our life goals.
Yeah, no,
and they're both like, I was like, they're literally exactly what I want to do.
Exactly.
You know?
So I mean, like the fact that we have that, and that's why that's another thing as well that we started this business together, mate. You know what I mean? Because we had the same beliefs. But I reckon challenges so far. Obviously, you know, lots of stuff in the back end. Obviously, you guys don't know what's going on, but yeah, there's lots of stuff, and you know, lots of protocols and government protocols and all that we have to obviously. That we had obviously to pass and to get it ticked off, and we've done with all that. But obviously our next one is getting this giveaway up and running, which will happen in the next month or so. But yeah, like I said, it's time is the essence, man. You know, time is key, and it will happen. Because we are putting the hard work in, and time is everything in life. I understand that, but not rushing to things. We're trying to make this the best platform for you guys possible. And once we are up and running, obviously, we've got the teas.
Yeah.
They're doing well. They're nearly sold out, which is good. Mm-hmm. And guys, if you haven't sussed the website on the teas, check the website, check the link. We'll obviously be posting more about that as well.
Get a tea. Get a
Bro,
Tycho tee.
Tycho tee, man.
Because they're going to sell out.
Tycho, it's the meaning of success, fortune, man. Like, you know, the goddess.
But also, like, I'm not
And
going to lie,
the
the material's
like,
really good. They look
You could
good.
gym in it. You could wear it out.
Yeah.
But like I said, you know, more Tycho wear videos coming for you guys. So stay tuned for that.
Yep.
And yeah, like I said, the Tycho Talks, a podcast. This, man, like, you know, we'll be doing freaking videos. You know, 2-3 videos a month. You know, if that, not even more. You know, so see how it goes. And we've got lots of, you know, love and support from it already on TikToks and all that. Just little glimpses of, you know, what we've been speaking about. And you know, if you guys have any ideas as well, of, you know, what the next topic as well they want to hear about, you know, whatever it is, you know, what I mean, whatever, you know, obviously this one's about, you know, the schooling system, which is, you know, it is controversial in a sense, you know, there's lots of talk about, you know, people disagree with what we say, some people will agree with what we say, but that's the whole point of life, you know.
Absolutely.
What I mean?
Yep.
You know, we live in a country that have freedom of speech, you know,
Yeah.
and
Freedom of speech.
yeah, but at the end of the day, like, if you disagree with us, you know, I don't hate you. I still love you, man. Like, it's fine.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
It's fine. It's all good. It's all love at the end of the day, man. So yeah, it's fine. But yeah, challenges will obviously be lots of stuff in the back end, lots of time and effort. But at the same time, if you put the hard work in, it will happen. You know what I mean? But like I said, we have put lots of time and effort into the website and all that. Credit to Nate. He's our content creator over here, mate. He's done a fantastic job with the website and with all the ideas that we've sat down and, you know, come up with a fantastic website that you guys can have access to, which is really good. And it's still growing, man. It's still growing. But yeah, I reckon challenges will be, like I said, lots of stuff behind the scenes that, you know, you guys are not familiar with. But yeah, like I said, all the ticking off with all the website, you know, and all that. But yeah, I feel like we've come a long way, man. I'm happy with it.
Absolutely.
What would you say with the top challenge for yourself at the moment?
I think the biggest thing for me is that I'm such a perfectionist and I'm trying not to be. I'm a recovering perfectionist, but I want this brand to be reflective of who we are as people. So in terms of honesty, someone with integrity, respect for everyone, like I want that to be reflective in the brand. And so a challenge is trying to build a brand like what we're doing and maintain all that. And it's not necessarily a challenge. It's more just something that consumes my mind. So I wouldn't say it's like a challenge because it should be like it's quite natural. If that's who we are as people, then the brand will naturally flow from that. But I think that it just consumes my mind. Like everything that we do or put out there, or even with the rewards platform, the value that we want to add to our customers, I want it to be done well, so that we are a good company.
Yeah,
and so to me, it's not so much a challenge, but it's something that I do think about.
Yeah.
And
in a sense, it might not be perfect to start, but I feel like it'll be good enough for you guys to appreciate, you know, the stuff we put in, and obviously the discounts and the rewards that we will obviously have access for you guys. You know what I mean? And we'll just get bigger and better.
And we just build on it.
Yeah.
That's
so like I said, we have so many more other questions from you guys, but like I said, we'll leave that for now. We'll do that in the next podcast, episode 3 coming very soon. But we'll go to the last question, Nate. I feel like this is probably pretty important as well, and I'm looking forward for this question as well. I feel like, you know, what are some challenges and opportunities that the school system can obviously get better support from, to obviously take on and give kids, you know, the entrepreneurship, that vision, and just to grow the life skills as well in education. You know, are there any subjects that the schools can take on, or any school programs that they kind of do as well, in a sense, to make kids more, you know, business minded, you know, more entrepreneurship minded, more vision minded?
Well, this is really interesting because, of course, there is, but they're not going to do that because remember what we said, they don't want business minded people, they want employees. But I'm just going to take a step back because there's things that parents can do, but obviously it takes money and it takes resources. But, and I know we don't agree on this completely. I know you agree with parts of it, but personally, I'm going to homeschool my children, and they will have a program, and obviously with the amount of money that I'm going to have, they will have the best tutors in the country come and teach them the absolute necessities and no more than that. We don't need to be wasting time with them, and they will smash out the basics in 2 to 3 hours, and then they can go read, they can go play sport, they can go out and play outside, they can do whatever they want. So they're still going to get an education, but I think for me, with my children, they're going to only learn the minimum and what they're required, no more. And we're going to pay a lot of money to make that happen, where they can, instead of wasting time from 8:30 to 3:30, they can just smash it out in a couple of hours a day and then go do what they enjoy. And then maybe go learn practical skills. Now, on that, they are going to be involved in so many extracurricular activities, depending on what's important to them. Sport,
and that'll be their social
drama,
life. Yep.
exactly. Sport, drama,
Yep.
music, whatever they want, because we are making them do this homeschool thing, which I think they'll actually appreciate, they will be involved in every extracurricular activity they want to be involved with.
Yeah, look.
And that's where the social aspect is going to come in.
Yep.
Because a lot of people get scared. Well, like, oh, you're going to homeschool your kids and they're not going to be able to socialize with anyone. It's like, no, actually, my children will learn to socialize with people older than them and learn to make phone calls to people they don't know and go and create interruptions with strangers that they don't know. And they'll learn all that while your child is in school learning about algebra, which they're not even going to need, right? So that's my mindset behind it. I know it's very controversial.
Yeah, obviously lots of people have, the goes and ifs about it, but
So just on your question, there's not so much the school
can do.
There is a lot the school can do. There's not so much
at
the
the
school
moment.
will do,
Yeah,
but there's a
exactly,
lot
because
that
of the
parents
system,
can
how the
do
system is.
in terms of educating their children. So,
and I feel like now, Nate, to answer your question, I feel like there's more kids out there that are homeschooled as well, in a sense. You'll come across that in a lot. But I feel like I agree with you with many things, and I did come across, and I did have the vision of homeschooling my kids, but I've kind of come up with the necessity now that I will send them to a Catholic school, private school, Catholic school, because I feel like there are lots of good morals that kids can get out of going to a very religious school. There's obviously lots of pros and cons to it, but I feel like, like I said, you've got to have lots of activities for your kids to have. But I feel like that social life within school, that interaction with other kids that they don't know of, that come from different families. I know they're going to spend lots of time at school, but at the same time, when you come home, you obviously discipline them, you speak to them about school, how it went, and if there's anything that you don't like, then you go and address it at the school. So I feel like there's lots of ways to go about it, but the fact that I did it, and I was fine at a public school. I know it's come such a long way, and I know in the next 10 to 20 years it will be a bit different and a bit difficult, but homeschooling is good in a sense, but I've probably come up with the conclusion that I probably will end up sending my kids to a Catholic school, a religious school, you know what I mean? So it's not entirely public and brainwashed and all that. It is still a bit to a point, but I feel like it's still healthy for them to go to school, man. I feel like it is, and it is somewhat of a religious type as well, that Catholic side of it as well, that's still have that old school touch to it as well, you know what I mean? And lots of teachers.
You'd be surprised. You'd be surprised at the Catholic school. So my sister went
I know. I've got lots of mates
to a Christian school.
Yeah.
It was still a little bit,
A little bit, exactly.
It's better. It's better than a public school for sure.
But it's not
100%.
it's not to extreme. It's not to the extreme that we think it is. You know what I mean? So I feel like there's still positives and benefits of them going to a school like that. And going to church once a week, I like that. You know what I mean? And obviously they have time on their own with their workmates, with their school friends. And if something happens after school, like, oh, daddy, something happened, I'll address it. I'll go to the school and address it myself, and I'll make sure it won't happen again. You know what I mean? So I'll make sure that they'll have the best possible education in that sense. And if anything comes up that I believe that is not on, and then I obviously, because I think that I'm going to make my kids, come after school, whatever, be so trustworthy, never lie. If something happens you don't like, come to your dad, your mum, speak your mind and all that, and we'll come up with a solution and kind of fix it, which will happen. But
so you're talking more from a basis of you're worried about certain agendas getting to your children. So you're more talking about the child's values and how they're actually being taught to behave. So I'm more coming from the point of efficiency.
Yeah.
So obviously, I know if I send my kids to school, they will still be good students, because at the end of the day,
because they're getting taught and parented by a person like you with your beliefs.
Exactly. So
and
at the end of the day,
the school can brainwash them so much, but if they have parents that are so strong and so ambitious like we are, I feel like they can't get to them like other kids can.
Look, give or take.
I feel like parents these days they put that much effort into their kids. Like, they're working 9 to 5. They come home, the kids finish at 3 o'clock. They don't even pick them up from school. Kids literally walk home from school, and they don't spend enough time with them. You know what I mean? To put them on the right track. So I feel like kids can go to school. That's fine, but I'm not going to be working 9 to 5. But I'll be working online from home.
Absolutely.
Working like literally my times, my hours. So I could literally take my kids to school. Mate, my kids are not walking to school. My kids are not taking transport. Never.
In the Ferrari.
I never took transport, bro.
In the Ferrari.
They are getting dropped off to school every single day, getting picked up.
In the Ferrari.
Whatever it is.
Hey,
like
kids,
Porsche 911,
pick a car. Pick a car.
You know what I mean? Whatever it is. Fluoro green.
But look, back to what
blasting tunes, having a laugh.
Absolutely. Blasting Taylor Swift.
100% like,
But look, back to what I was saying,
Yeah,
right? Because I understand that, and you basically answered what I was going to say. So from a moral point of view, like, if you have a good family, and if the dad is doing the job and the mum is doing her job, you're going to have good kids. But for me, it's more of an efficiency thing. There's no point of me wasting those hours, like my kids can do the basic education in 2-3 hours and then use that time to actually build the practical skills that school is not teaching them. So, for example, if we talk about taxes, my children can go and learn about taxes. They can go learn about negotiation. They can actually learn really important key life skills that everyday children are not learning.
To answer the question, what age do you reckon you will teach them? What age will they be that you believe that they'll have the capacity in their mind to learn about that specific trade?
So, I think
it's not an age thing as well. You're not going to teach them when they're 4 years old.
Absolutely.
Like, there's certain things you can teach them as well.
Yeah,
like,
I think it's all a, like, there's a time
and place for everything.
Everything.
I agree with that.
But I think that if you view your child as super intelligent, they will rise to that.
Yep.
They will strive to be super
But
intelligent.
the thing is, you can still do that and send them to school.
Look, it's each to their own. There's no right or wrong. I just personally, the way that I want to do it, it just doesn't make sense to send them to a school to waste that many hours of the day when they can get the same education.
A lot of right things you're saying, 100%. I do agree with you.
Do it in 2 to 3 hours, and look, at the end of the day, we'll see what my children want as well.
Yep.
You know, like if they, I can almost guarantee they're not going to want to go to school. They're just not. I can almost guarantee, because if they're doing their regular education in 2-3 hours and then they've got time to do whatever the hell they want while you're still in class learning about, poetry and literature, they're not. I don't think they're going to complain. The only time they would actually complain is lack of social interaction, which I've already said will be there easily.
Yeah.
So. But anyways, I think we'll end with this. We talk about
Go for it.
We'll talk about subjects in schools, in terms of what are your if you could teach a child in school 3 top subjects, what would they be that are not taught in schools at the moment?
Oh, they're not taught
in schools at the moment.
Okay, if you're saying that, what would kind of be a whole? What would you name a subject that kind of teaches them the emphasis of, like, financial status, like, buying a house, saving up to put a deposit on an invested property, looking at the benefits of purchasing invested property, looking at the benefits of, the tax benefits of purchasing invested property, property, valuation, property devaluation, all this stuff. Like, there's so much.
All right, so that's one topic.
Like real estate, what I mean? Like having a subject that specifically talks about real estate, how you could become financially stable, financially free from purchasing real estate across the country, anywhere around the world.
So money management.
Money management. But the thing is, money management could be real estate. It could be, putting into stocks, crypto, like whatever it is, man. Like, investing that money. That could be so many things. You know what I mean? But what would you kind of name that specific? Like, you could teach them investments. You could teach them, real estate. You could teach them, this and that.
So I'd put that under money management.
One thing.
Yeah.
Okay. What would you say?
So the second thing would be taxes.
Taxes, okay, but that could be part of that as
well.
well.
I wouldn't put it as part of it. I'd put money management.
I did accounting in school. Like, it was so oblivious of, like, tax, like nothing. It's just like all the formulas and all that. It's all crap. I remember it was so
exactly.
funny.
That's what I mean.
It's so hard, man.
It's hard, but it's useless, bro. Like, you don't even.
Imagine having a subject in year 12, like from year 10 to year 12, VC specifically, like from like 15 to 18, right? Yeah. How to, like, not how to, like, dodge past the tax system, but, like, how to kind of put yourself ahead of, the regular, like, 9 to 5 job. Like,
well, let's just say it would just be even more simple than that. How to even do your tax return.
Yeah, exactly.
What are write-offs?
Yeah.
How can you maximize your return? How can you minimize the amount of tax that you
exactly.
pay?
But that's what I mean. So, like, the bare minimum tax return, like, learning, like, the little tricks of, like, you get, just say you get $500 back, you get 3.5K back when you're 18, like, little things like that, what I mean? But yeah, you're right. I reckon, so that'll be one subject, taxes.
So money management, tax. What's your third one? And I actually think I know, but you go. I'm curious to hear what you say.
I would say, like, obviously, look, the one thing schools do well is the PE system. I feel like the PE systems are really, really good.
Yeah. And I said, no, but I said something that we don't do right now. That's already
I know, but I'm just trying to say, like, I would come up with a more innovative sports program, in a sense, that gives them more kind of clarity of the right foods to eat. Obviously, they do speak that to a certain point in school, but like, classes are more like tailored to your specific need or specific skill. The equipment's much more advanced and better for kids to obviously enjoy the classes more. Obviously, like the PE equipment they use are very old school, but we still had fun because I feel like PE is such a massive part of school, and fitness. You know what I mean? And that's part of success as well. The fitter you are, I feel like the more successful you are. I'm sorry, man.
Yeah. You don't need to be sorry. Why are you saying
Yeah,
sorry
I'm
to
saying,
me?
but
I love gym.
No, I'm joking. You look good. I was saying, like, the fitter you are, the more because if you feel good, you do good.
Yeah,
you know
absolutely.
what I mean? If you feel good, you like that's the whole point of life. Like the fact that you feel good, you look yourself in the mirror, and be like, I look good today. I look sharp. I'm gonna do good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm gonna smash my goals. You know what I mean? I'm gonna do this. I back myself. You know what I mean? I back my looks. I back my beliefs. I back my, you know. So I feel like the fact that you feel good, you do good. So I feel like they should push that more in schools. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I feel like so. I don't know what I'll call it, but you know, we got the money management side of it. We got the taxes. That's the financial side of it, and then I'll push it towards the fitness side of it. Your health, your mental well-being. You know what I mean? Your social, your physical. But I don't know what I'll call it. But what would you say? You were so adamant about it.
I would say. So my if this was like if
go
I
on.
was in charge,
Yep.
we got taxes, we've got money management, which is like investing,
That's very good, yeah.
wealth creation,
Real
and then
estate,
we
all that.
have negotiation.
Okay, that's good. So,
Like how to
go up to a certain human being and interact with them and ask them for
how
a specific
to-
trade or skill. Yeah,
how to negotiate, how to communicate, how to.
that's networking, bro.
It's a different skill, absolutely. There's networking, and networking would be
Be
in
part of that.
as well.
100% it would be.
But how to get what you want
Mm-hmm.
while also making the other person feel like they got what they want.
Yeah.
And how to be able to obviously communicate with different types of people, with different backgrounds, with different personalities,
Yep.
and be able to read people. Like this person has a personality that's a bit more, choleric and really thick-headed. How to deal with that person versus dealing with someone who's a bit more chill and mellow. And I think negotiation, which ties into obviously how you communicate, how you articulate, how you network with different types of people. I think that's a big thing as
it'll
well.
be like
And those three,
So you kind of call it like a communication subject. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
But
like
something
communication.
cooler than that. But like to answer that question, right? To answer that subject, that heading, communication or whatever, networking or whatever you want to call it. I feel like it's hard to teach someone that. Like,
why?
because I feel like people are born to be salesy. People are born to be reserved. People are born, like I feel like everyone is born in a different way. Obviously, like the way you bring them up is different.
Yeah. So
in a sense.
what would be hard to teach?
But I feel like the fact, because I've known people that are, from young age that are just more shy than others, and I feel like it's hard to teach them.
I don't think so.
It is hard because it's not in themselves. Like
No,
I
I
feel like
disagree.
to a certain point, it's the way you obviously go about it. It's the way you teach them to a certain point.
Well, that's
So-
why
so
that's
the-
why we're teaching them
exactly.
in school. But this is what I completely disagree with.
So would you bring that into
This is what I
early high school or later on?
This would be like middle school.
And just like bring it up.
Like
So
year seven,
Yeah.
right?
Like,
but this
each year
is
we're
what I
like-
completely disagree with. You as a person are you being shy is not in concrete. If you grew up being shy, you have there is every ability for you to change that and become a confident
Yeah,
person.
of course.
So I don't think that just because you're
But it might
raised
be-
in a certain way,
It might be harder for that specific
but
person.
life is hard.
Yeah, 100%.
But it's still doable.
100% it's doable. But in a certain point, you got to come up with, like I said, like year 7, you got to start. But like to create that specific subject, like it's got to have, like you can't just go bang straight away in year 7. You got to like build them up in a sense that like you got to obviously program them in a sense. But like
I don't know. I still disagree
year 7,
with you.
8, 9, 10, 11.
No,
Like
I
once you hit BC, then you like push into like
No,
nitty-gritty.
I still because the subject is negotiation. You don't need to. It's the skill of negotiation. Anyone can learn it.
Yeah.
It's a skill of communicating.
But
Anyone can learn
but I
it. You
feel
don't
like-
need to be a
but-
certain.
But I feel like you do that in the sense of like even in the sports aspect. You know what I mean, like you negotiate and you like interact with other people in the sports field. So that's why I feel like even in like
I'd still have
any-
it as a subject.
I don't know, man. Like I would have it, but then I feel like you should be doing it anyway. You should, man.
No, nobody
Like you
nobody knows how to negotiate, bro. Go do a poll of 100 people, and you'd find that only 10 of the 100 know how to negotiate a pay rise. No, serious. And I'm being serious. Like, I know you're saying that it's a given that people know how to communicate and negotiate.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't know how to negotiate. A lot of people don't know. It's one thing to negotiate.
Because and there's a different part of the communication. Because I feel like everyone knows the minimum communication skills. Everyone knows that.
Yeah,
The
but
minimum,
it's
the bare
one thing
minimum.
to
And I feel like-
negotiate. It's one thing to negotiate, and it's another thing to negotiate and you win and they win.
Yeah.
That's a really hard skill,
Yeah.
and not many people know that. It's
Yeah.
one thing to communicate with your friends who are maybe bums, and you're sitting there, smoking weed and you're having chat and small talk. It's one way to communicate in that way. It's another thing completely to go and
communicate in
communicate
business.
to someone who's like
Yeah.
a multi-millionaire. You know what I mean?
Yeah, in business.
So I think that, and they're all skills that can be learned. They're not skills that you're born with.
Yeah.
You're not born being a great communicator.
Yeah.
You're not born being shy. You're molded into that.
Yeah.
You know?
And like I said, like, it's a way your parents
that's
bring you up
how I
as
would go.
well.
I'd do
Yeah.
those three, to be
Yeah,
honest.
and-
Like
and
if
I believe that.
I might have to build a school one day.
Yeah, 100%.
Have those as top three subjects.
What would you name the school?
Tycho.
Yeah.
Tycho. Would you build a school?
Oh,
You'd build a school.
School-
We'll build a school in Africa.
Schools are named after suburbs and regions, but so you can't really name it.
Yeah, you can
Like
name it whatever you want. What are you talking about?
Like some school in Africa, like the names are pretty sick.
Bro,
man,
you can
suburbs.
name it whatever you want. We'll build a
Yeah.
school in Africa.
You know what I mean? Like you got your regional schools here that are named after specific suburbs and all that. You know,
Yeah,
they're
yeah.
not named after any person in particular.
Yeah.
I mean, even universities. You know,
I think
you know,
the school I went to was named after a person.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, nice. Oh yeah, maybe like your saint.
Yeah,
your
yeah.
saint something saint. You know, whatever it is.
Yeah. Anyway, that was interesting, hey?
Yeah, it was
What
good.
did you think of that podcast?
It was good, man.
It's good,
I
yeah?
enjoyed it.
Yeah, good. All right, so obviously we're going to wrap it up. When's our next one, you reckon?
Stay tuned.
Stay tuned, I
what
guess.
say,
Yeah.
Stay tuned.
Well, we're obviously going to try and do these weekly, but it really depends on schedules. So, yeah, stay tuned. We look forward to episode 3. But yeah, good stuff.
What's up, bro?
Don't send your kids to school.